Lindsey Graham reportedly threw Donald Trump under the bus in testimony to a Georgia grand jury. Meanwhile, another Trump accomplice, Peter Navarro, was sentenced to 4 months in prison for contempt of Congress, and Trump threatened to blacklist anyone who donates to his GOP rival, Nikki Haley. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Donald Trump will almost certainly be the GOP nominee, but in the meantime, he still has to defeat Nikki Haley, and he is super pissed about it. Then again, he's never not pissed. We asked AI to generate an image of Donald Trump eating ice cream surrounded by kittens on a carnival ride, and this is what it looked like. Trump is so furious, he threatened to blacklist any Haley donors from his campaign in a rambling rage post overnight.
Overnight, Donald Trump increased his attacks on his only Republican rival left standing, Nikki Haley. Posting on social media, Trump threatened to blacklist anyone who donates to the Haley campaign.
He called Nikki Haley bird brain, and he warned her campaign donors they will be, quote, permanently barred from the MAGA camp if they give her any more money.
If you're wondering what MAGA camp is, it's like Boy Scout camp, except the badges are for things like tax evasion, election fraud, lying about your golf score. What'd you get on the par 5, Timmy? 9. Try again. 4. Here's your patch. Also, I do not believe Trump would ever actually blacklist anyone who wants to give him money, no matter who they supported. If Joe Biden himself offered Trump $1,000, there's a good chance Trump would show up to his next rally in a Biden t-shirt. We love Joe Biden, don't we, folks? The stock market is soaring. Unemployment is at a 50-year low. And let's be honest, the guy he's running against is a real psycho. You may have also noticed that Trump has a super dumb nickname for Haley. He calls her Bird Brain because I guess he gets all of his insults from old Archie comics. For a guy who loves insulting people, he doesn't really keep up with innovations in that field. Also, I'm not sure you should be calling anyone else Bird Brain when you're the one who always, it seems always, has birds on the brain.
You know, I know windmills very much. They kill the birds. A windmill will kill many bald eagles.
They're killing all our eagles and our birds. The windmills knock out thousands of them.
They're killing eagles. They're killing the bald eagle and other eagles and other birds.
If you want to see a bird cemetery, go under a windmill sometime. You'll see birds like you never saw. If you love birds, you'll start to weep.
Say what you will about Trump, but the most successful candidates always know how to tap into the soul of the nation with a few simple words. Obama had, yes, we can. Clinton had, it's the economy, stupid. And Trump has, if you want to see a bird cemetery, go under a windmill sometime. I also like, at the end, how he clarified, if you love birds, you'll start to weep. What he's saying is, I don't and I didn't. I went under there, I couldn't believe all the dead birds, each one more decapitated than the next. It was so gruesome, and yet I felt nothing. If anything, I got a little bit hungry. Trump threatened to blacklist Haley supporters. He also lashed out at his own former press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, because McEnany suggested on Fox News that he should maybe spend some time trying to court Haley's voters rather than bashing her.
7 in 10 Nikki Haley voters said, I would not vote for Trump. There was a Des Moines Register poll, 43% said, no, I wouldn't vote for Trump. If I'm Trump, I sit back and I exclusively focus on the general election. I take the posture of a presumptive nominee. I focus on number 1, uniting the party, and number 2, winning the independents, which Nikki Haley won 55 to 39%. President Trump, I would go home tonight. I'd go to my victory party. I would celebrate.
Yeah.
I've made history yet again. But then I'd go home and I'd look under the hood.
Oh, you don't want Trump to look under the hood. The last guy who got a peek under there came out looking like this. And yes, we use that photo a lot, but it's because no better photo sums up the state of American politics right now. If we really wanted to accurately represent America in 2024, we would replace the stars and the flag with Rudy's eyes. Good luck sleeping tonight. That's Trump's former White House press secretary, a person whose job it was to make Donald Trump look good at all times, admitting that the numbers were bad for him. That would be like if I tuned into MSNBC and my cue card guy Wally was doing a segment about how he prefers other talk shows.
Well, if you look at the exit polls, 7 in 10 viewers clearly prefer Jimmy Fallon. And they're not wrong. Back to you, Rachel.
Wally, you better be one of the 3 in 10.
Oh, I am. I love Colbert.
Wally! Oh my God, who are you laughing at? No, it won't surprise you to learn that Trump did not take well to that advice, so he lashed out at McEnany too, writing in another angry post, "I don't need any advice from Rhino Kayleigh McEnany on Fox. Just had a giant victory over a badly failing candidate, and she's telling me what I can do better. Save your advice for Nikki. Be honest, if I gave you the line, save your advice for Nikki with an exclamation point, would you think it was said by a former president or a catty cheer captain?" I don't need your advice on how to do a teddy split, Kayleigh. Maybe save your advice for Nikki. She can't even do a basket toss. Republicans take note. Even Trump's closest confidants and most obedient servants will be branded as disloyal if you dare to cross him or even so much as give him advice. McEnany wants Trump to be president. She didn't criticize him. She just offered some suggestions on how he might be able to improve his campaign. No matter who you are in Trump's orbit, no matter how much you suck up, you are destined for insults and humiliation. I mean, the guy tried to kill his own vice president. And you might be saying, hey, he didn't try to kill him. He just didn't step in when other people tried to kill him. Okay. And yet somehow there's always a gullible new Republican who comes along thinking things will be different for them, like South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, who seems desperate to be Trump's next VP. Scott publicly sucked up to Trump at Trump's victory speech in New Hampshire on Tuesday when Trump asked him about Haley, who, as governor of South Carolina, appointed Scott to the Senate.
Did you ever think that she actually appointed you, Tim? And think of it, appointed, and you're the senator of his state, and she endorsed me. You must really hate her. No, it's a shame. It's a shame. Uh-oh.
I just love you.
No, that's...
Oof. That felt like the moment at the 8th grade dance where you finally get the courage to tell Claudia Calloway you think she's pretty, and right then the music cuts out and everybody hears you. And even the gym teacher starts making kissy noises. I mean, I assume that's what it's like. And Scott's not the only South Carolina senator who's still debasing himself to prove his loyalty to Trump. There's also his fellow South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, a key Trump rival turned enemy turned ally turned enemy turned frenemy turned ally turned best friend for life, who had this ludicrous thing to say about Trump on Fox News last night.
The people of South Carolina believe that Donald Trump was the best Republican president since Ronald Reagan. I endorsed Donald Trump on day one because I saw from a front row position of 4 years of the toughest guy I've ever seen in Washington.
He's the toughest guy I've ever seen. The man walked through a bird cemetery and lived to tell the tale. Meanwhile, my Meemaw won't even let me go into a pet store because one time a parrot told her she looked tired. And I said, Meemaw, you do look tired. And she said, I'm tired of having a good-for-nothing grandson like you. And then I stormed right out. But then I stormed right back in because my Meemaw's a lie, but I do love her biscuits. Well, it won't surprise you to learn that, as usual, even Trump's most loyal servants are full of There's a wild new report out that Graham actually flipped on Trump in the Georgia criminal investigation into Trump's attempts to overturn the results there. Graham played a key role in that scheme. He tried to help Trump pressure the Secretary of State, Brad Raffensperger, to tamper with the vote count. But Graham later spilled all of his dirt to a grand jury and even expressed relief that he'd finally come clean.
Graham turned on a dime and, quote, threw Trump under the bus during his grand jury testimony in Fulton County, Georgia. Trump faces 13 charges in that state in connection with his efforts to steal the 2020 election. Quote, Graham testified that if you told Trump that Martians came and stole the election, he'd probably believe you. He also suggested to the grand jurors that Trump cheated at golf. It got even weirder from there. After Graham was finished testifying, he bumped into District Attorney Fani Willis in a hallway and thanked her for the opportunity to tell his story. That was so cathartic, he told Willis. I feel so much better. Then, to the astonishment of one source who witnessed the scene, South Carolina's senior senator hugged the Fulton County DA. According to one witness, Willis was like, whatever, dude.
He spilled everything, then hugged the DA. Even the DA was like, are you okay? Have these guys never heard of therapy? I go once a week, and all I do is spend the entire hour overanalyzing a 5-minute conversation I had with a camera guy in the hallway. I'm just kidding. I don't go to therapy, but the writer who wrote this does, and let's just say he needs it. Now, the point is, Graham clearly had a lot he needed to get off his chest. He even told the grand jury Trump cheats at golf. Why would that even be relevant? This is like when your best friend breaks up with a boyfriend and you can finally tell them everything you hate about the guy. He cheated on you. He's racist. He smells bad. And he has a thing for dead birds. Things never end well for Trump suck-ups like Graham. Just take, for example, former Trump advisor Peter Navarro, who was sentenced to 4 months in prison today for contempt of Congress. Navarro is such a loyal Trump servant. He defied a subpoena to testify, but his story, like the stories of all Trump sycophants, ended in humiliation today when he tried to hold a press conference outside the courtroom and was drowned out by protesters.
The top line here is that Mr. Woodward has already filed the appeal in this case. And I have said from day one is destined for the Supreme Court. It is a case that really asks the important question of whether a senior White House aide and alter ego of the president can be compelled to testify.
Hey, Jeff, Navarro's doing a press conference. You still have that super high-pitched whistle? Here's the first rule of television. Never try to talk over a cowbell. There's no beating a cowbell. One of the most famous sketches in comedy history is literally just called More Cowbell. If Navarro had been on SNL at the time, he would have spent the entire sketch trying to shout over Will Ferrell. I'm also very impressed by how many different noisemakers the protesters brought. A cowbell, a whistle. If they'd asked us, they could have borrowed some of our sound effects, too.
Whether a senior White House aide and alter ego of the president can be.
The lesson, as always, is that loyalty to Trump will never be rewarded and always ends in humiliation, whether you're testifying to a grand jury or just trying to give him advice. Trump will eventually turn his wrath on you, and you'll have debased yourself for nothing. Your political career will be so dead it belongs in a
bird cemetery.
This has been a closer look. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching A Closer Look. And as a reminder, my brother Josh and I have started a new podcast called Family Trips with the Myers Brothers. We hope you listen. We hope you like it. And see you soon.